Probably the last Fox episode of X-Men.
Yes, this is the end of an era.
The New Mutants.
Or as I will call through this entire review, the New Mutants.
You were right, Kyle. A ginger cow.
But it doesn't matter, because that's how a few of the people in this movie say. I do understand why they released this during the coronavirus.
Are you crazy? That thing will kill you.
He's right, it's Monty.
It's definitely one of those movies where no one cares. We were the only ones in the theater tonight. We got to go see it in a theater. So that gave us a little oomph. This is like a group of X-Men people. They have mutant powers, but they're dangerous. And apparently they're being kept in a secure facility, I'll call it, out in the middle of nowhere to protect humans and to be experimented on.
And they got another mutant in there too.
Yes.
And they make your worst nightmares come true. What I thought of this movie though, it's Twilight, it's shit out glass, and Bella and Edward are now lesbians.
Yeah, sadly enough, I was really disappointed in this too. I was expecting a horror movie.
Yeah,
this was not a horror movie, so don't go in there thinking that it is.
Yeah, this was not scary. This was
it wasn't
completely
scary.
PG-13.
I know it's not for us. It's for girls and young guys between 13 and 19 years old.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a tough demographic, but they didn't make that movie for them. This movie will probably bore the shit out of them.
I don't see how this movie won't bore the shit out of a lot of people. There is times where it kind of picks up a little bit, and I thought the effects were okay, but man, the story was just, there's so many stupid things that just happen, like the ending.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil it, but it ends on this kind of note. No.
The acting. The way these actors are, like from the very beginning, I knew we were in trouble.
With the dad.
I have to go help them.
No, Dad, please. Please don't leave me alone.
Danny, I have to go back. Stay here.
It was like everyone was talking in whispers the whole movie.
Yes. Oh my God.
Every conversation was just two people looking right at each other, just whispering.
Yep. And those
50% of it.
accents.
Horrible
What about
accents.
Charlie Heaton's accent in this movie?
I have a choice. Well, I had to go and work in the mines with my dad. This one day I just got claustrophobic.
I never get that out of my mind. I was in the theater just laughing every time he talked. And even Anya Taylor-Joy, the Russian accent, it was dropping. So when she talked quieter, it kind of dropped. And then when she talked louder, it get really thick. And I was just like, oh,
Well, there
my
are
God,
times
it sounds
where I
so
thought
bad.
she was speaking in an American accent. And then all of a sudden, her next sentence would be Russian almost.
Yeah.
So it was back and forth. And then Heaton, though, he was as country as he could possibly do. It was almost comical, though.
And even Williams was like, it was like a leprechaun or something.
Well, she had this strange Irish little thing she did once in a while. Like, hello?
The main journey that Rain goes through is that of standing up for herself.
Hello? And it's like, okay.
Sorry if you're Irish. I'm actually kind of Irish, so.
That explains a lot. Explains the drinking.
Yes, it does.
Speaking of drinking, that's the way you're going to make it through this, is drinking.
That is
The beginning of the movie is a slog to get through. It's an hour of just exposition, and you're in this little tiny hospital place, and it's kind of like Glass, where you're stuck in the institution and you can't get out. And it's just them. It's just these random nobody kids that you don't care about.
Remember the first time they showed Charlie Heaton's power? That whole scene.
Yeah.
I was like, it was cringy. I was just laughing. Van Forstick, man.
It does. It feels like a Fan Four Stick kind of development, because the way they did the powers and the way they set up this movie was really blah. It didn't have any excitement to it. There was not one part where I was like, wow, this is really well done.
Well, here's the thing. And we started talking about it earlier. We didn't get into it. It was supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
What the hell was scary about this?
They had a few scenes which were a little unnerving. They had some henchmen, I'll call them, where they wear these masks and they have these crazy faces filled with teeth. It's kind of like the sand monster from Beetlejuice, where it's just like
exactly,
you know.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of remember the evil man with the evil stick with Conjuring?
Yeah.
The doors.
The doors.
There's the shaking doors. That's that's the horror that this
Yeah.
movie has. You know?
What was that?
And even before then, she's like, yeah, I masturbated twice today. And I'm like, how does any of this work into the movie? You know, I guess everybody needs representation, but, you know.
That's fine.
It's just, the way they handed it to you in this movie, though, you're just like.
I wanted, if there's
cringy.
going to be a love story between two girls, it's got to have more substance than, hey, how's it going? And then the next, like, scene later,
They're making out.
they're like making out, and then in the next scene, they're in falling in love. The doctor that's running this place is all alone.
Yeah.
There's nobody else there.
And all she's got is a force field, which it does show it being pretty powerful at the end, I thought.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what you got? And one time she passes out, and it maintains.
Yeah, the rules weren't very well laid out.
Yeah.
But the problem I had too was they had scenes in this that did not play. Like they would all be like having a real somber moment, like someone got hurt or someone got thrown against a lawn machine, and then all of a sudden they're having a dance party. And I'm like, boy, this tone is all over the place. It was crazy. They neutered this to the point where I thought I was watching a kid's movie. It is. I mean, you'll know it. You'll feel it. When they start dancing around and giggling and laughing and the music's playing, you're going to be like, wow, this is a freaking kid's movie.
I personally think it would have did heaps of help if it had been rated R.
Yeah, it maybe.
And they just take it straight horror.
A little violence, like with some blood, some horror effects. The horror reminded me of what we saw with that scary movie Nightmare, that Scary Stories or whatever it was. It reminded me of that because it wasn't horror that would scare you.
Very
necessarily.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. Thank you. It wasn't something that scared you. It was just supposed to be weird.
Yeah. Well, she's bringing, or the person, the mutant in the movie, basically their ability is to make you see your biggest nightmare. And you're like, that's your biggest nightmare?
Huh.
A guy with a smiley face?
It's almost like we've seen something like that before.
You know, and we were talking about the riding in the car with these riders nowadays. I don't know what they're really doing anymore because it just seems like they've lost their collective minds.
It's like they don't have a sense of direction. Like, hey, we need to make this a horror movie for adults.
Yeah.
Or we need to make this a younger kids movie with light horror and comedy.
The whole setting of the movie, the control room, and
Once
everything
again,
else I see in there.
glass.
I turned to him one point. I go, because there's nobody else in the theater, so you can actually talk out loud. And I'm like, are they supposed to be in the 90s or something? You got these CRT TVs, and the technology seems older.
Yeah.
And at one time she's on the phone, and that's something else we got to bring up. With like an evil corporation behind all this.
Right. Oh, it was on the computer. Like they were texting her.
What happens at the end? Why isn't the evil corporation coming back?
Well, they got these. Here's what's weird is they'll have like corded phones pop up, but yet they have this computer that can scan you digitally and tell what cells are moving in your body.
Yeah.
And they have remember the doors, the locking door mechanisms that are voice activated. There's high technology, but yet in this really old, low-tech place.
Building.
And yet you're going to house some of the most dangerous mutants, according to the movie, that they've ever seen. One of them can burst into flames. And yet they have no safeguards.
Yeah.
None. His room, spoiler, his room burst into flames and the place exploded. And they're like, oh my God, he's on fire. And I'm like, no shit, that's his power.
And why don't they use any of these powers against the evildoer?
Yes.
I mean, you could have ended it so fast, you know?
And we're getting into spoiler territory, but that's fine. No one cares. At the end of the movie, I thought they were going to have a big fight, like Fantastic Four. But instead, it felt like it was just mainly two of them really doing something. The other ones were hiding.
It's them fighting themselves, really.
Yeah. And the big CGI bear. We got to give it a hug. Tell it how much we love it.
No.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
Like I said,
there.
that's the end, man.
And
oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
Oh, God. I knew.
It was cringy, but it was honestly, I did have fun with it. I laughed. And the best way to say how cringy this is, it ends on a moment where you got the guy turns himself in the fire, picking up a piece of cement that clearly makes a styrofoam sound.
Yeah. That was borderline I don't know if they meant that to be a joke.
That was... I
But
laughed.
he grabs a solid block of concrete, picks it up, and it makes... And you could tell it's real light
styrofoam.
because he's moving it around
It's
real funny.
styrofoam.
And he squeezes it, it makes a noise. And I'm like, that has to be.
I don't know. Have you
purpose.
guys seen that? Did you guys see that? Because I'm curious. Because I
No, I thought the
cracked
same
up.
thing.
I
was
cracked
like,
up laughing
I did
right
too.
there.
I was laughing my
So,
ass
like I
off by
said,
that.
I actually had fun time with it. I don't really have too much more on this one, though.
I don't either.
What would you score it, Mike?
To be honest, it's a weird one to score. If I was younger, like maybe like 10, 11, I'd have thought, whoa, that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
But being anyone above 20, I don't know how they're going to like this. I mean, I really don't. I would have to say the highest score I could give this would probably be a D.
I wasn't completely displeased. I told him, even coming out of theater,
You're in
it
the average
sounds
land.
weird. My expectations were literally so low for this movie that I actually said, oh, it was actually kind of better than I thought. But it's still not a good movie. I'd probably give it a D+. You know, if the writing was a little better, if it was more horror, you know, I could have had some fun with it.
Yeah. If you're gonna do this, have fun with it. Make it the right movie for the genre.
Drink.
Yeah,
a lot.
drink. I mean, it's not. To be honest, it's not worth it. Stay home, watch Bill and Ted on VOD. Before we also begin, make sure to like, subscribe, go to our channel, get on there. We haven't had a lot of movies to review, so we're back now. We've got some more coming up. We got Tenet coming up. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to edit here, Larry.
And there is one thing I do want to talk about before it's over.
All right.
So tonight we just heard Chadwick Boseman died of cancer. Mm-hmm. So,
Very sad.
you know,
I hope that's not a
heartfelt
fake
feelings
rumor.
out to his family. My mother, I
Yeah.
don't talk about a lot, but she died of cancer.
She had that too.
It's not how you want to go.
No,
So,
it's not.
I do feel bad because I
It
did
came
not
out
see
of
it.
nowhere.
I know he had been covering it up. Apparently,
Yeah.
I'd never heard anything about it. I know he had lost weight during that one role, and
Yep.
I honestly just thought that's what it was about.
I did too.
So,
I had no idea that he was going to be passed away on us so soon.
So I guess Lana
Anyway.
just went off. So we're gonna get off here.
Thank you, everybody. And Larry, get us out of here.
So until next time, guys. Like he said earlier, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But we'll see you later.
All right. Peace.